So, Comfey or Comfey, however you prefer to say it, is a very good clerical fairy type, and its major difference between it and Florges from Generation 6 is that it gives up some of its HP, but gains quite a bit of speed. So this actually gives it more versatility, and we'll go over the three sets I made for it in just a moment. Before we do that, we'll look at its stats. And while its base HP may seem low at first, at only 51, its defense and special defense more than make up for it at 90 and 110 respectively, which means it can take hits, especially from the special side, very, very easily. Its base attack is low, but it really doesn't need it. Its base special attack at 82 isn't the worst, and it can actually be useful in a lot of situations because it's higher than a lot of other Pokemon that are clerical and try to still be offensive. Its speed at base 100 is a very crowded speed tier, but since the Generation 7 meta is so slow, it can actually benefit from outspeeding most of the meta naturally. As far as weaknesses go, it's weak to only Steel and Poison, and it resists Fighting, Bug, Dark, and it is immune to Dragon because it's a pure Fairy type, which is a very good type to have. As far as its abilities, really, Triage is probably best for doubles, and Natural Cure is best for singles. So what Triage does is it gives priority to healing moves, similar to how Gale Wings gives priority to flying moves, or how Prankster gives priority to any type of status move. This means that if you had Toxic your opponent and they were faster than you could just spam Synthesis or any type of move to heal yourself and Toxic stall them out. In doubles, this would mean healing your partners potentially if you had a move that could do so before your opponent had a chance to knock them out, which could be actually very, very handy. Natural Cure, on the other hand, is probably your better bet for singles because you could then become a status sponge. What Natural Cure does is whenever you switch out, you lose any status conditions you have, which means that if you are expecting your opponent to fire off a Thunder Wave, a Will-O-Wisp, or a Toxic, you could just switch Comfey in. You could let it absorb the status, do what it needs to do, switch back out, and it's like the status never happened. So, as far as the sets I made for this Pokemon, the first one is your basic Clerical set, but the good thing is it gets Leech Seed, which is a very good move for this Pokemon. So you would run Leftovers to help with your longevity, a Boulder Calm Nature to boost either your defense or special defense while reducing your attack that you really don't need. I think you should max out your HP and defense because you have enough natural special defensive bulk to take hits anyway. And an extra 4 speed just to outspeed those other base 100 speed Pokemon that may not give any investment at all. As I said before, Leech Seed is a great move to have. Taunt or Substitute could be handy depending on the circumstance, but I believe Taunt would be very good because there are a lot of slower Pokemon that may want to set up when they see a Comfey on the field. Dazzling Gleam is your basic coverage move, fairy type special move that's powerful enough with your base 82 special attack, even uninvested. And then for the final move, you could either run Synthesis to heal yourself or Energy Ball for more coverage to hit more of the Pokemon that may wall you otherwise, even though it doesn't help you against either Poison or Steel types. Other moves this Pokemon gets are Floral Healing, which heals your teammates, and I believe it has a boosted effect in grassy terrain, which means there's one Pokemon in particular that especially benefits from a partner Comfey, which we'll get to in just a moment. It also gets Trick Room, and although it does not benefit at all from a Trick Room on its own, setting up a Trick Room with a fast Pokemon such as Comfey for other super slow Pokemon on your team could be very handy, especially in the current meta and all the slow Pokemon running around. It does get U-Turn, which could help with general momentum. Your opponent switches out to something that they thought they could use to set up on your Comfey, and then you just U-Turn on it and switch into a Pokemon that can take care of it better. Aromatherapy heals all status moves on your team. Sunny Day is good if you're running a Sun team, of course, and you may need an extra Sun Setter, and then it also gets Light Screen to help your team take special hits better. Now, as far as doubles go, I'm not well experienced in either VGC or Smogon's doubles category, but I just feel like this set could do so much work, and I like to call it the Bulu Buddy. So the idea is, you probably lead with Tapu Bulu, which is the grass fairy type that automatically sets grassy terrain when it's set in, and then you send in a Comfey or Comfey with the grassy seed. And what that does is when you're on the grassy terrain, this boosts your defense by 1, which is great because your special defense is already so high. If you get +1 defense, then you're very, very hard to kill on either side. From there, you probably want to run a calm nature, but still keep your max defense EVs. That way, no matter what your opponent throws at you, you're probably not going down anytime soon. Other moves you could carry to complement your partnership with the Tapu Bulu are Floral Healing to make sure it stays healthy as long as there are no poison types on the opposite side of the field. You could run either Helping Hand or Flower Shield to help benefit your partner as well. Dazzling Gleam for spread damage to hit both of your opponents, and then either Aromatherapy, Protect, or Leech Seed depending on what you still needed for your team. Now, the last set that I have for Comfey is an offensive set, and I'm very happy for this because when I first looked at this Pokemon, I was like, I would love to see this little lay looking harmless Pokemon just sweep a whole team, and if I can ever get the footage for that, I would love to share it with you all. So the item you would want to carry would probably be Life Orb, because that would mean your attacks would be boosted by 1.3 times, which really you need since you only have base 82 special attack. You could also run Leftovers to live longer, but I do think Life Orb is the better bet in this circumstance. Timid Nature means you're as high speed as you can get, and you lower your attack that obviously you won't need. You run max speed, max special attack, a little bit in your defense, and then you run Calm Mind. That way you can bolster both your special attack and your special defense, meaning you're harder to kill while you're getting stronger. Dazzling Gleam is your best stab. You could then run Energy Ball for coverage, and if you prefer Petal Dance, you could run that as well. But really it's not as useful because then you get locked in, and grass has a lot of resistances. The last move I would say to run would be Hidden Power Ground, just because even though you're running Dazzling Gleam and Petal Dance, you're still walled completely by Poison and Steel types, which Hidden Power Ground covers both of. This Pokemon may seem just like another Cleric at first, and you may ask, why would I ever use this Pokemon over Florges? But I really do think it has its own place to be very good in the meta, especially with its different abilities. And so we'll just have to wait and see what happens to it, but I can't wait to get a sweep with this Pokemon, and I really plan on doing so very